And if probably if you are confusing and if you are always being in a dilemma that which time techniques and which time principle are to use, because there are a lot of information available there, but still we are not getting the things why it is happen. And and especially when we building some starting our journey in pursuing our dreams, then this all these stuffs are making us so confusion rather than to complete our most prioritical task, most practical task. And if and the reason behind that is if we have already a lot of task or the work has to be done in our to do list. We have more work as more work than what we expected to do in order to pursue or finish our task on a daily basis. And here we cannot manage all these tasks, and we cannot manage which tools to use, which techniques to use. And just we if we googling on this particular thing, this with what time principles and techniques to be used, then we end up with lot of information, and we always try to jump and switch the windows to adopt and acquire these techniques. But basically the main concept is here: this any principle or any concept, or it is a theory or any philosophy, is always a stronger to work on, because system principles and system principle concepts are never going to be break. It is still like that. It is like a natural law. Suppose that there is a gravitational law, so always take one technique or the principles and adopt that in and embed that in our daily work life system. For that we have to create our personal workflow system in which in which we have to categorize our task in order to finish to finish possible as possible as it become. For the first thing we have to do, we have to use some tools or any digital display or any kind of tool that we can where we can store all our ideas and to-do list or task. What is the thing, what is the action that I have to going to complete? Because we always try to keep in our mind also, but our mind has a very rare capacity to remember and memorize all these things, and throw against us to do the work at the right time. For that we have to store, we have to capture all these things in a proper place. And the second most principle is that we have to organize in order to get process on this that activity or task. We have to organize in a such a manner it is not so complicated and overwhelming for us. It is once we organize in order to process it, for that we have to prioritize our task based on the priority 1, priority 2, or priority 3, or priority 4. But how we should decide that which priority has to be given for the which task? For that we have to use the Huygens quadrant, where he already displayed in a very descriptive manner that based on the urgency and the importance we have to categorize our work. And the fourth one is we have to time block. Once we get audit our time, what is our time supply and what is our time demand for for completing our daily work, that is our to-do list. And for once we get scenario, or once we get the audit of our available time and time supply for the given task, then we have to block for particular task. If we are very useful, if we are very very skilled at and good at, we have to we did not make to block the time for that particular task, because it is very easy, it is can be done in a very less time. But it is a task where it is required our very mental focus, our concentrations, and some learning skills that are required. We have to must block them in our calendar, specifically for 1 to 2 hour or the 90 minutes of the gap, so that we can, without any distraction, we can put our attention on the given task and we can finish in a given time. And the number 5 is that stop adding and start eliminating. We always think that once we started our workflow, but a random task coming in our way, and just we capturing and storing in our to-do list, that this is also we most important and most urgent, it seems like the previous to-do list, but it is not like that. We have to eliminate rest of the all things which is not aligned with our focused work and focused objective and target we are going to achieve that. And we have to keep it as a randomly, because sometimes what happens that it can be solved as it is from other people or other colleagues, or by itself, by not even just getting attention to that particular task. So in this is the main criteria, or this is the main principle when it's come to uh, techniques and principle, what time management techniques to be used. This is the developed by the David Allen, in which they in order to increase our productivity, we have to follow this step, so that we can finish our task without even overwhelming, without even stress, and we can do more stuff, we can finish more stuff, and we can feel sense of completion, accomplishment, and we can track our goal and our goal with our actions itself. Apart from that, I would like to share, for if we categorize, if we construct this workflow on a daily basis, then what we have to do it to avoid the distraction, because we cannot we cannot stop the incoming distraction from all the channels, all the information is coming in our way, uh, whether it is a internal which is created by ourselves during our task, during our working, because we always jogging in our mind itself whenever we functioning or whenever we doing some work on the desktop, then we end up with the opening more than 2 to 3 browser pages at the one time, and we switching in between these pages, because every switch, every task split is a cost us a time, it cost us a burden of that work that is we are doing. And once our attention is lost, it will take more than 3.5 minutes to come back to that particular work and task, and to remind to focus on where we have left off, this is even become more worse. So to eliminate all distractions, we have to take a conscious and deliberate decision that we have to log out of from all medias, that is logging out, not just closing out, but we have to log out of our social media accounts. And we have to use browser instead of apps, because once we use our browsers, then it is become very easy to focus on that. And if it is working on apps, our internet triggers is uh, going to be focus, and our attention is get distracted by notifications and pop-ups and rings and bings and vibrations comes from the apps itself. And I already said that use the time blocking system, where we have to if we blocked our time for particular task, then unless and until that task is not going to complete, we have to stick with that. And we have to use our phone's features, which is D&D. Do you remember when you have used your do not disturb function in your phone? We always keep silence or on a vibration mode, but still there was a chance there, and if it is beside our desk, then probably there are chances that our attention is going to be captured by that vibrations and the silence mode also. So uh, we have to use mobile in a D&D mode, and follow the 2 minutes rule. What is the 2 minute rule? Any task or any job, before it start, if it is required to move physically or do something with this happen in next 2 minutes, then we have to just get that thing first, so that we can get momentum moving forward. And don't wait perfect time to start anything, because this is never going to come perfect way. Yes, because if we start to arranging and prioritizing and planning all these things before even executing, then we already losing our track on finishing our given task at the moment. And they take or set or create a habit, that one thing at a one time, that is called the power of one. We have to always focus, because our mind has a not capacity or ability to focus and do two things at a simultaneous way. But in nowadays, having a multitasking or having a multitasking nature or multitasking skill is very demandable, but in the opposite way, there is no as such multitasking things, because once we do multitasking, we can know how it is affected in our quality of work. So one thing at a one time. and try to keep one browser open on our desktop so that we can focus on that particular task and we can complete the uh, significant work. So we can get our significant result for our business as well as our personal life itself. I hope you enjoying this video. If you do get any value from this video, do let me comment and what you have learned or what is your takeaway and what you have suggesting so that it can be beneficial me also so that I can adopt and make some iterations to that in order to keep me marching and keep me flowing to my goals. Thanks for watching. Let's come back tomorrow for daily live for becoming more productive.